So, people don't realize. I always say to find out who your ancestors are. Then you're told, no, you shouldn't find out who your ancestors are. By not finding out who your ancestors are, your life will be so much harder. When I literally chose to find out more about who my ancestors were, when I discovered a lot more about who my ancestors were, because I was never supposed to find out. And I was sitting up here and I was always thinking, why? Why am I not supposed to find out? Then it's like you spend all these years literally being treated like a slave. Then you find out who your ancestors are, and you're like, are you kidding me? Always, always find out when you're on your spiritual path, find out who your ancestors are. Find out how each part of, or each place, like each place, say where you went to school or you worked, may be a part of who your ancestors are, may be a part of their legacy. To go through everything that I have gone through, then I'm sitting up here thinking, I went through all this when I come from this. You have to, like, literally, when it's coming to finding out who you are, find out who your ancestors are too. Because too many people are trying to tell you you shouldn't be spiritual. No. A part of your spiritual path, and I'm saying this, make it a huge part of your spiritual path to find out who your ancestors are. A lot of people out here playing small because your family wanted you to play small. They didn't want you to know who you are or who you come from. I found out a whole lot more on my part. And I'm looking at, like, my mom and especially my mother. I'm like, why are you playing small? You come from this. And it's like, why play small? Like, just because one side is a certain way, your other side, you come from leaders. You actually come from leaders. And you play small. Your family may come from leaders, and you playing small because your family members didn't want you to find out who your ancestors were, and you're playing small. They didn't want you to wake up. They wanted you playing small. They didn't want you to find out who you truly were. They didn't want you to find out who you come from. I was so much in shock when I found out who I came from. And I'm sitting here like, why play small? I come from this. It's within. It's within me. You may come from leadership, playing small. Then you look at it and you're like, it's within me. Leadership is within me. So why play small? You chase your lights. You chase love. Find out who you are. Find out who your ancestors are. Find out how much of a huge part of, like, what they did and who they are plays in your life. People do not understand that. Do not allow a family member to be like, oh, you shouldn't find out who your ancestors are. Or, I remember my last job, I was sitting down talking to another employee, and he knew some of my family members on my great grandfather's side. And he was like, you don't know who you are. And I'm like, no. I said, I have not, like, I didn't know much about my great grandfather's side. And he also said the same thing about my great grandmother's side. He was like, you really don't know who you are. We weren't allowed into spirituality. We were not allowed to go into spirituality whatsoever. It was like an oppression. Like they oppressed us from spirituality. Always find out who you are. If you're gonna go chase the light, go after love and light, find out everything about yourself, your ancestors, who you come from. Because I literally found out about literally each side of my grandparents. And I'm sitting up here like, and why do they have us playing small? So question yourself when you're going through this type of situation. Why play small? As you're spiritually awakening, you're going to find out more and more. And that's why I said bring your ancestors into the mix. You're going to find out more and more about who you are, especially spiritually. How you can help your own ancestors out. Even though they're deceased, you can still help them out. You will never realize how big of a part you will play for them. The more and more I went through, the more I found out about my own family on literally both sides. It's like you will never know unless you literally wake up. You accept when you get the calling on your life and you accept it. The love, the light. Everybody wants the light, everybody wants the sun. Are you willing to do the healing? Are you willing to find exactly who you are? Are you willing to find out about your ancestors? Because a lot of what your ancestors went through, you too went through. One of your ancestors went through the same thing you went through. So when I'm like, wake up, find your higher self, you really don't realize how much your ancestors are a part of you. Like my current situation, I literally am realizing whose it is, who went through this same thing on being It's crazy. And yes, I come from a religious family. They didn't want you stepping anywhere near spirituality. But could be behind the scenes doing dark stuff. Find out who you are. Find your light. Heal yourself on a daily basis. Push forward on your path. As I said before, find out about who your ancestors are. Why so many people are playing small, find out exactly who your ancestors are. Because so many people would be shocked. I can't even believe half of what I found out. But they wanted to keep you closed up in solitude. Really? But then again, they actually do you a favor by putting you in solitude. And don't realize it. I'm telling you, find out all about your ancestors. Find out who you come from. Just because you don't show everything you got, that's not, like, literally. Know how to put that self-love in on that situation. You don't show what you come from. That's why so many people start to hate you. Because you're showing everything that you come from. Then they want it. You gotta look. Thing is to look forward, to keep pushing forward, to walk your path. And check to find out who your ancestors are. Trust me. When I tell you it woke me up, it truly woke me up.